In the meantime, the 2020 Trump campaign is launching a new effort today, trying to court women voters. It's hoping the message of women's economic empowerment will help with the suburban women vote. Independent Women's Forum senior policy analyst Patrice Leonwuka is our guest here, joining us along with the panel. So what do you think of this move? I mean, take a bunch of surrogates, women that are either on the campaign or support the campaign, and send them out trying to get this vote and, keep it away from the Democrats, who did very well with this particular group of voters in the 2018 midterms.
Well, I think it's smart for the campaign to reinforce the good work that's been done for women in this economy. I mean, I've read some of the talking points, but some of the things that they're saying are actually true. We see women's unemployment rate hitting historic lows. We're seeing their labor force participation, at historic highs. And I love one statistic that I don't even think anyone is recognizing. But in 2017 to 2018, women started 1,800 new businesses each day. So that's saying something special about the economy. And I think the president and his campaign are right to really hang their hat on it. Hopefully this is news for a lot of women who didn't recognize all of these highlights.
But if you think about it, Jessica Tarlov, it's actually similar to the argument the president's been making in a lot of his rallies. He doesn't mention women. He usually gives a guy as an example. But you may not love me personally, but hey, your economic situation is better. So we talk about it. Why does it matter what the gender is? That argument could work in certain areas, right? If the economy holds up.
An economic argument affects everybody, and that's been true, since the dawn of elections, that it's pocketbook issues. And we know that a majority of women are the ones controlling the pocketbook in the household. They're making the major spending decisions. They're the ones most invested in on top of their children's education and what's going on in the communities.
Right.
I will say to Patrice's point there, and you raised the issue about the 2018 midterms, where we saw, record levels of support for Democrats, especially for female candidates. There is a problem that Republicans are facing here that is not surmountable by just standing at a rally and saying, the economy is better for you.
It's a Trump personality problem.
It is a personality problem. And immigration is also an issue with this. But you look at him underwater now, even with white women without a college degree, which was a group that went for him. He got 51% of the white female vote.
So they obviously realize that. They're trying to get out, Patrice. They're trying to get out ahead of that, and they're trying to push back with economics. But that's a fair point Jessica brings up, that is, you do have some work to do there if you're the Trump campaign, right? Because of the president's own words and in some degrees actions or tweets or whatever the case may be.
Well, that's true. I think a lot of women do get turned off sometimes by the rhetoric that they hear. But when it comes down to some of those issues, I thought it's interesting that according to The Economist just this week, the president has a plurality of women's support for how he's handling the economy. And that was higher than it was a couple of weeks ago. So I think he's starting to make inroads. Certainly immigration is tied with the economy for number 2 or for number 3 issues among women. But when it comes to immigration, that's something really important when women consider national security and how the border crisis is being dealt with. And so, I think it's smart. It's we're over a year and a half, I guess, in advance of the election to try to say, okay, start seeding the ground now. There is a coarse third support among women who are not leaving the Trump campaign. Now, I think what they're trying to do is take those women and see if they can utilize their support and gen up additional support. But I do think at the end of the day, there are a lot of women who are going to say, rhetoric aside, my life is better, and then I still support him.
Well, we saw that with the Access Hollywood tape. It is something that could absolutely happen again, and Democrats are certainly preparing themselves for that. But I wanted to add about the point about a plurality of women, which obviously you'd want a majority, about his approval on the economy. Healthcare is the number one issue to Americans, and he is so far, and Republicans are so far underwater on that issue that they're in real danger here. There isn't a viable Republican plan. Now they're talking about repeal and replace again. That is dangerous going into an election.
Unfortunately, Democrats are pushing for Medicare for all, which is very unpopular.
Again, the front runner is looking to improve Obamacare. That's what all the moderates in the House are doing.
It's regardless of gender. It brings up the same points, Bill, we talk about all the time, is that if the risk for the Democrats seems to be, if you do have an opening here, then moving too far to the left, whether it's on health care, or other issues, whether it's women, men, whoever, that's the risk.
Yeah, I'll say two things. I think Jessica was talking about the in the 2018 elections, largely suburban college-educated women that made the difference for a lot of Democrats that defeated defeated Republicans in formerly red areas. But at the time, that's what happened in my district in New Jersey, where Mikey Sherrill won, beat a Republican. She didn't mention Trump. A lot of them didn't campaign on Trump. They campaigned on health care. So that's one. The other thing I'd just say is that sometimes, especially in the media, we talk about women as though, unless you're Elizabeth Warren with her agenda, you're not really a woman. There are a lot of women out there who are pro-life.
Of course.
And so and they're very satisfied with that, right?
Absolutely.
And moderate women, which I'm one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. It's a good talk, though, and we'll see how this works. The campaign is the reason we're talking about it. They're making this this effort public. Patrice, good to see you, as always. Thanks for coming on.
Good to see you, too. Thank you.
All right. We'll come back.